I'm still getting a little crackliness in this. What is up with that? A little redness. All righty. Now let's quickly share this to every friggin' platform, as is my per usual. Still not super consistent with all this, but that's fine. Considering my life, my life isn't super consistent, so why would I expect myself to be super consistent? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. There we go. Cool. All righty. So there's that. Okay. Now, let's get into it. So, due to the fact that, okay, so here's the deal with the computer and why I haven't been editing. So, my computer isn't really, I haven't been able to take it into the shop lately. The shop as in like Best Buy, Geek Squad, that kind of thing. And it's been having some weird issues when it comes to trying to edit certain things. And I don't know, edit or preview certain things. So I don't know if it's an issue with the... Let me see. Oh, can y'all hear me? Yeah. All right. It's just weird because like down at the bottom. Oh, shut up. It's just weird because... Shut up. Down at the bottom, there's like a little bar that has like multiple dots, and they like light up in green when the audio is working, and they're not lighting up right now, so I got worried. Anyway, I was talking about my computer, and it was starting to get some issues, and I'm afraid, considering it's my work PC, even though I do have a backup laptop, it's not great for like doing certain kinds of editing. It's not great for doing ADR and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of the bulk of what I've been doing. So I don't know if it's the graphics card is going out or what. And due to the fact that I've had pretty much a lot of work end on end, I haven't actually had a chance to take it to Best Buy, considering I know it's going to take at least 2 days minimum. So I'm kind of trying to bide my time until I have a big clearing, and then I can take it to Best Buy and make sure that it's fine. But I think doing things like Livestream isn't really going to like affect it. I think it's just doing Livestream, I think, is just RAM. So should be fine. But anyway, the video that I had recorded on my phone, and I was going to try to edit on my phone, but I was still having issues trying to edit it on my phone, mostly just because it was a very large, very long video, considering I rambled. It was like over 25 minutes. And so editing on my phone was taking a lot of the phone, and the editing program that I was using was constantly crashing, and I couldn't transfer it to Dropbox and then do it on my iPad, and it wouldn't transfer to anything. So I was like, screw it, we're doing a live stream. But it's a really late live stream because I had to get some sleep. I've been working really, really hard with a client doing, like I said, ADR, doing some ADR stuff. And I recently found out doing the invoices. I haven't finished the invoices because I kind of got really bummed and kind of pissed that the invoices, I was about to include the syncing up fee, it's kind of like an editing, like when I do extra work that involves editing and syncing something up, there I have a little rate for that per minute kind of thing. And I had thought that we had negotiated that because I had mentioned that it would be included, but it was never actually agreed on, and they did not include it in the contract to which I already signed. And because of my dyslexia, I didn't notice until I was asking them about it, just to getting a little bit more clarification, making sure that we were going with this time frame rather than this time frame on it. And they were like, that wasn't included in a contract. So I lost sleep for nothing. And I just had to walk away from the invoices because I got really, really pissed. I got really, really mad. And so I'm to unwind a little bit, and then I'll be getting back to that in a second. So it's a lot of extra work. I'm still getting paid a good amount because there's still, a couple hundreds for the buyout, at plus the amount of time that I'm doing, plus every character that I'm doing. So it's not that bad. It's just staying up really, really late, losing a lot of sleep to try to get all that done in a deadline when technically it's not even mentioned in the contract that I had to do all that extra work. Technically, really all I had to do was, there's a bare minimum that I had to do, which was just make sure that each take that I did fit within the time frame of the lip flaps. Outside of that, I didn't have to go in and edit the best takes within the timeline of the whole video. It's really complicated, and it was something that I thought I was supposed to be doing. Turns out I didn't have to do that at all. So, yeah. But other than that, let's see what we got. Good. Y'all can all hear me. Yay for steady work. Yeah, I mean, yeah, steady work is good. Steady work is really, really good, especially when it's a client that I've worked with before and I actually really, really like. I like these people a lot. I do a lot of characters for them. I'm not going to say what company it is, but anyone who follows me or anyone who knows my stuff, you might know, I guess. But what was very, very funny is I've worked with them before. They came to me. I think they actually connected with me via Fiverr, and then wanted to work off of Fiverr. And so I gave them my contact and stuff like that, which, yes, Fiverr doesn't like you doing, but Fiverr knows that if they were to actually crack down on people who actually did stuff like that, they would have no one on Fiverr. So they kind of like, they encourage you not, it's like, don't do it. Well, I did it. All right, well, don't do it again. That kind of thing. It's not a huge deal. But yeah, they had seen my stuff on Fiverr. They asked me to do a whole bunch of different characters. And so I think I do like 10 characters for them, or at least the previous show. And then they adapted it for a different market. I think it was for the UK. And they had gotten some UK voice actors to do their version of my characters. I'm guessing they didn't like their performances, so they came back to me to basically dub over the characters that I had originally voiced that someone else was doing back with my voice, but now doing it with their delivery and cadence. If that makes sense? So it's very, very much a first for me. It's also ADR, and it's like all English, so it's different than what I'm used to. Normally, I'm used to like dubbing over French or Chinese or Japanese, something like that. So it's like, I kind of, for the most part, I can really just listen to them. I don't technically have to read the script. But anyway, yeah, let's get into some questions. I got a little bit more to say, but we're going to get some questions real quick. When I'm cold, reading long paragraphs, my brain... Wait, what? When I'm cold reading... Oh, cold reading. Okay. There's no comma. When I'm cold reading long paragraphs... No. When I'm cold reading long paragraphs, my brain likes to miss every second word. I mean... Yeah. I really just think it's like just a mind's eye kind of thing. I mean, we're not... I mean, if people back in the day were like way more prolific or way better at reading, that was pretty much the only way that they communicated. It was the only way that they, the only entertainment that they had for the most part. So people were much, much faster at reading and writing. Nowadays, most of our stuff is visual. So we're actually not as good at reading and writing as we used to be. However, I think we are much better at different areas, but I don't remember what those were. But yeah, that is not surprising. I hate cold reads. If there's a client or potential client that wants me to audition for a cold read, why is it shaking? It's mounted to the wall. Why the hell are you shaking? You shouldn't be shaking. Okay, I think that's better. I don't know what that was. I don't know why that was happening. Still kind of doing it. That's weird. Anyway, yeah, so I don't remember what I was saying. Yeah, anytime there's like a client or a potential client that wants me to do a cold read, I pretty much go, yeah, just go for someone else. I'm not gonna be able to. If you're not gonna give me at least a little while to read this over a couple times, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. I'm not going to give you, even though I can totally do the job, I can totally deliver the performance. It's the dry reads and the cold reads that I'm not gonna ace. I actually started reaching out to clients this past week. Okay, cool. So far, I have reached out to 120, and I'm really hoping that maybe someone will hire me. I'd have to see your marketing material to see whether or not you're okay. So I'm assuming you're talking about like cold calling, cold emailing, that kind of thing, where you're just sending out basically packets to. Why are you still shaking? I don't get this. But sending out packets to potential clients, trying to basically move past an audition phase, which is fine. I've stopped doing that for the most part, just because most people nowadays really, really hate um, soliciting people, solicitations. It's just kind of it's a different world that we live in. It used to be that that was one of the best ways of getting your name and your face out there. Nowadays, considering now that everything is digital and now that people can easily find emails and now that people can easily reach out and it's so easy to find companies and find their email addresses. There's a good chance that they just get a lot of that kind of stuff, and so for the most part, they kind of ignore them. Me personally, I get a lot of ever since the YouTube channel got to um, 15,000 actually, um, subscribers, there's been a lot of people sending me emails, whether it's hire me for your marketing, hire me for your editing, hire me for this and that, and they don't really provide the right information. They don't personalize the email. It's all poorly written. It's misspelled. And there's some companies that are like, "Hey, review this product." And again, it's broken links. There's no personalization there. There's nothing. So I often just delete that kind of stuff. And so it's possible that a lot of companies are basically feeling the same way, and it may not be as successful as it is anymore. I would definitely say that only try cold calling and cold emailing once you've been doing this for a while and you actually have like a resume and a good IMDb page and a good demo and can deliver a competitive product. If you can if you can get work auditioning and competing with other voice actors, then you're probably at a point where you can actually do cold calling. But if you're not getting work through other means, it could just mean that you're not ready to even do cold calling. Cold calling and cold emailing kind of living this together really kind of only works once you have like a good foothold already and you have something to showcase. You have something to present people. I've done all this kinds of work. I've done similar projects to like it's a video game. Let's say it's a video game company, and you found their information on Steam, and you've done a whole bunch of video games in the past of similar genre. Then you can actually use that stuff to showcase how you could actually help them with their project, how you could actually benefit. Like I'm familiar with this kind of genre. I'm familiar with this kind of performance, give me a chance. Then you actually might have their interest. But if you don't, and you don't have enough to actually use as leverage, you might actually be burning bridges. So I personally don't encourage cold calling, cold emailing until you've been doing this for a really, really long time. Uh, but everybody's career is different. Everybody takes a different path. So if it is actually working for you, keep going. Ignore what I've said. But if it's not, you've done 120 and you've gotten nothing back, and this was all like, let's say you did 120 in a month, unlikely, but possible. And you haven't gotten anything back, and you do that every single month, and you've been doing that for multiple months in a row, and you're not getting anything back, stop. It could just be that what you have to send to people isn't really good enough to get their interest, and they could just be blocking you. Especially if you mistakenly, like I've done in the past, message the same people over and over and over again. thinking that, oh, or forgetting that I even messaged them. You could end up being on some kind of blacklist or just getting blocked just because they're annoyed by you. So be careful with that. Oh, boo. Okay, here we go. Other than Fiverr, okay, are you on other freelance sites? I mean, yeah. Would you, where we go? Where would you advise signing up for as much as you can, or only one or two? Okay. So I've said this multiple times. Don't pay them when you first start out. Don't pay the memberships for all these different websites. You want to still sign up for the free accounts. Almost every single platform, Bidalgo, Voices.com, Voice123, all this kind of stuff. Basically, you can sign up and create a profile for free and then not actually pay the membership. You can do that. Totally fine. Very easy. And then it's another place for you to have your contact and your demos and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I'd very much encourage that kind of thing. Castingcall.club is technically freelance. So is ACX is freelance. I do have profiles with things like Voiver, even though they're not really getting enough exposure and not really getting a lot of the kind of work that I ace at. So I'm, yeah, I don't know. But I do pretty much have an account on most of them. It's just the one that I get the most is Fiverr, and that's mostly just because they have the widest spread. They have the widest reach. They come up higher in a lot of voice acting search terms or voice acting search engines. When you go to a search engine and you type in voice acting or voiceover, Fiverr comes up pretty quickly. That's why. I think it's just because they're marketing. But yeah, always don't just do one. Always do multiple. It's shaking. I just thought that was my hand. Oh, okay. I'm guessing you're watching it on your phone. Maybe it's still shaking because dead cat. No, I think it's because the desk is actually hitting the wall, and even though this crane arm thing that has the ring light and the webcam is attached to the wall, I think it's just because the desk was just hitting the wall. I need to just move it back a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'll just lean on the chair. Okay. I tend to check for. I need to get this like where I can see it a little bit better. Can I move this out? I can't. I tend to check for jobs once an hour, I guess. Sometimes more depending upon time. What's the time between you sending an invite to audition and you actually uploading your files? What? Me sending an audition? An invite to audition. Me uploading the files. You're gonna need to click. Are you talking about me hosting an audition, or are you talking me actually auditioning for something? I'm getting a little confused with the wording on that one. I did it in a day. 120 in a day. Yeah, I'd probably back off a little bit. If you're doing 120 in a day, which I don't see how that's possible, the chances are you're probably doing more copy and paste. And if you're doing a lot of copy and paste, that means you're not personalizing it for the company you're actually trying to contact. And if that's the case, then they could probably tell. I get a lot of emails like that where I can tell it was copy and paste. And so again, if they can tell that it was copy and paste, again, you're probably burning some bridges. So maybe back off a little bit, do a little bit more research, find out who it is you're contacting, mention their company, mention the stuff that they've done that you like, try to make a connection, and maybe email them basically a complimentary email first without sending any of your stuff. Just kind of make a connection first, see if they respond. Just be like, hey, I like your stuff. I've seen your stuff. Very good. Just want to say that was really, really nice. I'd say maybe start there and then kind of get their attention first and then do a follow-up, rather than just sending out a hey, I want to work with you. Hey, I want to work with you. Hey, I want to work with you. Um, might work better. Personally, if I was a production place, okay, I'd be pretty annoyed by unsolicited VO emails. Yeah, it's more and more common, especially with newer, younger companies. Especially if it's a startup company or an independent animator, independent game maker who is essentially just one person and they don't have a team. They don't actually have someone that they've hired to go through emails and stuff like that. They probably don't have the time, especially if they're also working a day job, which a lot of independent animators, independent game makers do. They don't have the time to do all that kind of stuff. So again, you got to do your research. So if it's a very, very small company, very, very small team, you could be bogging them down. You could be stressing them out, and this could be annoying, and they may just block you. So again, do your research. What's up, guys? Don't mind me just playing, listening to this. Okay. Question, which GTA? Which of the GTAs? The latest one, I assume? Okay. I did the 120 in a day. It was 2 production houses. What? I'm confused. It was 2 production houses. See, my dyslexia. I thought you said it was 2 production houses. And I'm like, you said 120 to 2 places. I was about to start like losing it. It was 2 production houses. What would you recommend I do instead? I'm just starting and desperate to get my foot in the door. My suggestion. Okay, so I'm going to put this down here, like I always do. I mean, it's in the video description, but I just want to make sure that it's here as well. Okay, so that is my email. This is actually probably going to be easier for me to help you individually. To really kind of like dissect, because I don't want to just make judgment calls based on no information. And yes, you could send me stuff live and I could react to it live, but I don't want to embarrass anybody and I don't want to kind of like, I don't want to put anyone on the spot. So that's my email. Email me and we can go over it. I can dissect it and critique it for you. That's probably the best. It could just be that you really need to focus on the free platforms first, like Fiverr, before trying stuff like that. And you need to just find the auditions. That could just be it. When you get an invite to audition from a client, okay, how much time is there from notice of the audition to uploading your finished file for the audition? Okay, it depends on where I get the audition. If it's castingcall.club, I'm not too pressured to audition too quickly. Twitter, I like to get within 48 hours if it's an actual project that I want to audition for. And if it's my agent, I try to do by the end of the night or the following morning. I try to get it, to them really, really quickly. It kind of depends. I would say the more professional the audition, the more professional the company, the more professional the project, you want to try to get it to them faster. And that's not to say that you shouldn't still do a good job with the independent clients or the independent projects, but the ones that pay more, they have higher priority. Let's just be honest. They have higher priority. The stuff that's fun, that's on like castingcall.club or the kind of stuff that you'd find on Twitter, they're they're not as high priority, and so they shouldn't be done as quickly. Mostly just because it just comes down to money. It just comes down to finances. You need to be making money in order to even keep doing this. So those have to be done as soon as possible. I will say, however, there is a caveat to that, because a lot of times, and there's no real way of knowing who's going to do this and who's not, but there are tons of independent or small amateur companies, small companies, when it comes to animation or video game, that they basically already make their decision after the first couple auditions, even though they're getting a bunch more before the deadline. They've already made a decision. That's just an amateur thing. And so, yeah, you could, I guess, set a priority to get all of your auditions done first. I mean, like, as soon as possible. But there's no way of knowing who's going to do that and who isn't, and that's a sign of an amateur and an unprofessional studio, and you kind of don't want to work with them anyway. So, hope that answers the question. Does Fiverr already have all the legal contract? Does Fiverr already have all the legal contract add-ons preloaded? Ooh, okay. Or would I need to come up with my own legal paperwork? Why would you, like when a client clicks on the box for commercial use or in perpetuity? Okay. So there are some interesting workarounds. So basically, if someone has made an order and there is an option for commercial or broadcast, and you've utilized that, and it's on the order, and that is connected to their account, they've essentially already signed an agreement with you. There is already something that says for commercial use that they themselves have used, that they themselves have agreed to and paid for. So literally just a screenshot of that order could be used as legal grounds. Same thing with email. If you have an email back and forth with somebody and you've agreed on something, even if there is no actual signature, it still has legal weight. Now, I know what you're trying to get, what you're kind of focusing on and what you're kind of getting at, and I do understand. However, most of the people on Fiverr that you would want to be wary of, or people that might be trying to take advantage of you, are the ones that are going to want to not pay any extra amount at all. They're the ones that are going to say, no, it's for personal use, it's not for commercial. That's the kind of issue that you're going to be running into. If someone has paid the commercial thing, then they're probably legit anyway. Then they're probably going to be, they're probably on the level. The people that are going to be screwing you over, or the people that you want to be wary of, are the ones that are going to be where you can clearly tell that it's, a product or a service that's being marketed or promoted that they would need commercial rights for. And they're like, nah, it's personal use. It's just, it's a fun gag or whatever. Those are the kind of people you have to be wary of. So anyone who actually pays the commercial rights, you probably don't need anything like that. That's the kind of thing that you would, when you start working with like bigger companies, bigger studios, then that's going to be more of an issue. However, if it's a big studio, like when I did stuff for Marvel, they already had the paperwork ready to send to me, that they wanted to make sure that we had a legal agreement. So if it's a bigger studio, that's really the only time that you're really going to need that kind of thing. And they're already basically going to have a copy and paste kind of thing ready to go. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just make sure that your rates are good. If your rates are good, it'll basically kind of weed out all the scum, and it'll make sure that you're getting paid fairly, and just make sure that all of your information is well documented and makes a lot of sense. That's pretty much it. Oh, I really appreciate you letting me email you. I'm And I appreciate that you wouldn't embarrass me on YouTube. Yes, I would try not to embarrass you on YouTube. I don't want to embarrass anybody. I don't like to mention people's names. I mean, there's been a couple people that I've had issue with that I've brought up that I've never mentioned, and these were people that like screwed me over. So I don't want to do that to someone who hasn't like actually done me any wrong. So the topic, since it looks like we're at the end of the questions for now, I will have to be heading out maybe 15-20 minutes. So I'm gonna try to cover a quick topic. On Fiverr, it's the cheaper clients that are the worst clients. Yes. Well, okay, so not necessarily the cheaper, the penny pinchers, the people that try to haggle for less. Not necessarily people that pay the least, but the people that haggle for less. It's like 1,000 words. Like, can you do it for $5? And you're like, they're like, I promise you there'll be more work down the future. You promise me there's going to be more work that's not worth my time down the future? That's not negotiation. That's not going to like sink my teeth into it. No, absolutely not. Hey Tim, have you had any luck on I can't even say that. I'm pretty sure I have a profile there, and the answer is no. It looks familiar. The answer is absolutely not. And it's probably just because I don't spend as much time and effort tailoring my marketing on those kind of platforms that are basically Fiverr-esque. There are a lot of like Voiver and Voquent, which again sounds really familiar. I'm sure I have a profile on it. There's a lot of them that are UK based, that are basically like a UK or European version of Fiverr. And most of the clients, most of the work that I've seen that go through there are looking for like, uh, like regional and natural accents of the area. So even though I've done commercials for like, I think it was like a car company or something like that in Ireland, and I actually beat Irish voice actors, and I know that I actually can compete on that level a little bit. It's not really something that I really like market or anything that I really like try to do. Mostly just because it's a completely different area. I'd have to put together completely different material as opposed to what I have right now, which pretty much works on every single platform for the most part. That's just it. When are you announcing your casting call? So I know what you're talking about, and that's actually a really good topic, rather than the thing that I was going to talk about. So I have an animated show that I'm putting together. But let me rephrase that. I'm putting together the show Bible for the pitch project, and as of right now, I have essentially 4 episodes out of the 28 that are finished to the point that I'm comfortable with. It's the first 4 episodes, and they kind of have a good concluding arc that kind of like really showcases what the show's about. It is. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I will give you a little bit more information than I normally do. It's basically mixing I Dream of Jeannie with Tenchi Muyo and Terminator together. It is it's a little complicated of a story because I didn't want any more simple stuff. I wanted to do something that was really a challenge. The problem is I've never actually written animation before. I've written tons of scripts for live action, and I've given them to various different filmmakers, different actors to do with. I've shot some of my own live action stuff, but I've never actually written for animation. There's some distinct differences, and the problem is the references or examples that I have for writing animation. I don't have any pitch project scripts as examples. Again, a pitch is very different than the shot script or the director's script, which has a lot more detail. One show that I was kind of focusing on for example or inspiration is the original Batman animated series, because it was, I think, written and produced by Tim Burton and Steven Spielberg. And it's great. It has tons of Academy Award-winning actors and stuff like that. And it also focuses more on drama, which is the show that I'm doing, which is drama, romance, comedy, sci-fi. And it's, I have a lot of those scripts to kind of go for reference. But again, these are shot scripts. So I don't know what the pitch looks like. I don't know what a pitch for an animated series actually looks like. And the only thing that I've ever been told is that for animation, it needs more information. It needs more description. The problem is, and I actually did a read through with the actress that's going to be playing the main female character. Yeah, I'm going to try to find a really good page that showcases what I'm trying to talk about. Okay. So when it comes to animation, you don't have a set designer. You don't have a costume artist. You don't have a location scout. You don't have stunt people. You don't have all this. So most of what you're putting in there, you have to put in extra information, because that's all going to be done by the artists and the animators. So you kind of put in a little bit more information, a little bit more detail as far as what we're looking at. The problem is that you get pages that are essentially just like this, that it's just all action. It's just all description, all scene description and action, and there's very little dialogue. Most of the time, a script for live action is going to be just almost like endless amounts of dialogue. Very little. I'm trying to see if you can say very little actual action. It's just mostly dialogue. And generally speaking, that is what you're supposed to do. And I'm very good with the dialogue. The problem is like actually writing it in a way that is for animation. And that's something that I've never done. So I'm actually on the hunt for animators or people who've written for animation. And that's hard to find, because every single writer friend that I know that is into writing or has done writing, that kind of thing, it's all live action. And so that's where it's kind of getting tricky for me. So I'm not sure how ready to pitch this I actually am. I am getting ready to actually, so this is the first episode, and it is, let's see, I think it's 32 pages. Yeah, 32 pages, which for animation, for about like 11 minutes, you're probably looking at like 16 pages. And so for 30 minutes, you're looking at like 24 to 30 minutes, you're looking at 32. So it's pretty much what I've been trying to keep it at. And so technically, I could, and I will be, recording the first episode with some people that I know, and I'm going to be auditioning some smaller roles. All the roles that are in the first episode are recurring. So anyone who gets roles, auditions and gets the roles, will be showing up again in later episodes. Some of them are more significant than others, some of them less. But it's a little, again, it's really, really complicated. Let's read some of these comments. I think there's been some comments. The 90s Warner Brothers studio was the golden age of anime. It really was. It really, really was. And the Batman animated series, I think, was the peak of that. It was the pinnacle, because there's a lot of episodes in that show that really didn't focus on action at all, which is kind of what I'm hoping for. I kind of don't want it to just be focused on action or focused on immature jokes, which is what most things. So this is adult themed, but it's not adult in the way most people think adult. I mean, most people think adult animation, they think raunchy humor, they think violence, they think all this kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be that. It can cover adult topics and still not be, inappropriate. Like the original Teen Titans. The original Teen Titans, before Teen Titans Go, was technically, it still holds up to date. Like, as an adult, you can watch it because it's mature in its delivery of the themes of betrayal, the themes of friendship and loss and identity crisis. It tackles those things very, very well. Modern cartoons do not. The Batman animated series does the exact same thing. There's one episode, I don't remember if it's called Baby Doll or Doll Face or something like that, where it has this Shirley Temple-like character who goes evil because she's an adult human female and basically trapped in that child's body, and she goes insane. And it's one of the most heartfelt, beautiful episodes I've ever seen. And it really has nothing to do with the combat, Batman kicking ass. It's just a really sad and well-written episode, and that's the kind of stuff that I really, really like. It's adult in its theme with certain topics, but it doesn't have to be crude, inappropriate, violent, and all this kind of stuff. And that's kind of like what I'm hoping to do. Yeah. What type of characters are you going to be trying to get? I mean, these are vague enough that it's not going to spoil anything. There are a bunch of office workers that are friends of the main character, and there are 2 cops, and there's some people that work at a cafe. For the first episode, that's pretty much it. Again, these characters do recur. There are tons of characters showing up. Those are kind of the ones that. So it's mostly adults, people above 25. Again, but if you're younger than 25 and can basically sound 25 or older, that's fine. Like, it's just all about voice acting. Let's see. I've gotten to. Oh, okay. I've got to head into work. Great live stream. Okay, well, bye. I'm assuming you've already left, considering I just now got to that. But yeah, so the project that I'm going to be working on, if anyone's seen any of the storyboards or any of the animations, the rough animatics that I've done, it's all related to this project. There's been nothing that I've actually showcased that actually spoils anything. But my goal is to essentially voice and cast the first episode and then do the animatic and the rough animation of the first episode as if it was actually an episode, and then use that to pitch. But I still want to have a good animation script to actually pitch as well. I've done character sheets for most of the characters. I'm working on the logo. I kind of got the logo kind of how I want it, but I've sent it off to someone to kind of clean it up and give it a little bit more crispy presentability. I already have the female lead, and I have a couple people that I have in mind, but haven't actually agreed or auditioned for the role. So the majority of the roles are still open. And so what I'll probably be doing first is I'll probably be going through the list of voice actors that I have in my talent pool first, and sending them auditions first, and then we'll be sending out an open audition for all remaining characters. Because I kind of want to work with people that I'm familiar with first, considering this is a passion project, and I don't want to just hand this off to people that I don't know. I want to work with people that I'm familiar with, that I know care as much about the stuff that I care about as I care about the stuff that they care about. So it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky because I've never actually tackled anything like this. Most of the time when it comes to live action, I'll write a script and I'll hand it off to a friend who's a filmmaker who has all the gear, and he basically takes it from there. So this is the first time really doing something on this scale. And of the 28 episodes, I think I have 12 that are done. The goal is between 12 and 14 episodes is a season. So essentially have 2 seasons worth of episodes, unless all of it goes into one season, but then I have nothing after that. So it's tricky. It's really kind of tricky. Those animatics were amazing. Well, thank you. I actually used to have artists and animators that I could rely on, but I don't anymore for various different reasons. Each one of them their own thing. So for the most part, I've been having to do literally everything by myself. I cannot animate the whole the whole thing by myself. That's for sure. But if it comes, I am so sorry. But if it comes to just doing the animatic or the storyboards, I can absolutely do that. It's going to be roughly animated. I can do the Foley work. I can do I can do a good chunk of it. But when it comes to like more of a finalized thing, then it gets a little more tricky. So it's trying to work out the extent of what I can do on my end. Maybe got like 5 more minutes. After that, then it comes to who do I pitch this to? And that I don't know, because I know when it comes to Netflix, they pretty much only work SAG projects now. They basically made this big open statement that they only do SAG projects, which is fine, by the way. The only thing is most of the people that I'm wanting to work with are not part of the Screen Actors Guild. And even though most of the people that I'm wanting to work with, and myself included, live in a right to work state, Texas, I don't think they respect that. So it would come down to me trying to do a project, and they basically kick me out of my own project. So that's pretty much out of the gate. But yeah, so there'll hopefully be some auditions soon. I just haven't been able to. I posted something on Twitter for a whole bunch of writers to try to find some writers that were familiar with writing animation, to try to get them on the project or kind of get their help to refine the first 4 and possibly have them included in the future. But for now, I was kind of like really too busy to actually like email every single one of them. Also, there was like more than 50 of them that actually messaged me. So it's going to take me a little while. I need an entire day just to do that. Yeah, the reason my voice is going is because I did multiple Gilbert Gottfried things recently, which a lot of people have really liked, and they're getting a lot more work doing Gilbert. So you can kind of hear how my voice is kind of going out like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I need to get going. If there's any more questions, ask them really, really quickly. I'm gonna probably put on my shoes while I wait. But yeah, that was pretty much it. I was gonna talk about friends, working with friends, and trying to stay sane with in this industry, and how to find the right friends to keep close by. But we don't got time for that. I have paid into SAG-AFTRA for jobs, assuming you have too. So at least I'm on their radar. Gotcha. I still don't see that membership is worth it, but that's another story for another time. Yes, I've actually wanted to find someone who was very much pro SAG-AFTRA, to not necessarily debate with them, but just kind of talk about the two sides, because I'm very much independent. I prefer the independent side of it, and SAG, I get it, but it's almost like a completely different continent. It's almost like a completely different market. The way they do things is completely different. The rates are completely different. Not saying that you couldn't charge Screen Actors Guild rates as an independent freelancer, but it's just a completely different business. And it's not as easy to get a membership as you'd think it is. So, and I think I already have like 4 credits, but I don't even know how many of those credits actually qualify. I got nothing. I have absolutely nothing. But yeah, there may be more on this coming up soon. It's just completely. I don't know why I'm holding it up. It's completely like can't see anything. There's nothing here. Can't see anything. But yeah, I'm gonna end this here before my voice goes out anymore, because I do actually have some more voiceover that I gotta do. So yeah, it's gonna be it. Hopefully we'll do another live stream, or hopefully I'll have my computer into Geek Squad to get it looked at sometime soon, so I can actually start editing and uploading videos again without fear of it crashing. Again, I probably could, but I've had issues recently, and I don't want to push it, considering it is my work PC. So, fun, crazy times. Yeah, it's gonna be it. And I guess we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.